How's your spirit? Mine is super peace. We may get up and move in a minute just because I don't like the positioning, but we'll see what happens. I don't plan on talking too long, but I want to discuss a couple things. First of all, happy Black History Month. Today is February 1st. In Black History, according to me, this is the night that I die, or my death begins, so to speak. 9 hours of this night on February 2nd, 1st, 2022. I'm having difficulty breathing, and I call out in the spirit to the person that I'm with at the time. And he calls me on the phone. He says, "Did you call me?" And I said, "No, I didn't call you, but I called you in the spirit." And we just had a brief conversation, something about John. There were two Johns basically, John 2:22 in Revelation, and that's when I knew what was happening was true. 1:11 on the clock, and that I was gonna die. So that's Black History in JP's. It also is the history or the anniversary of the sit-ins in North Carolina. Which brings me to the point of today. Today is February 1st, and I asked you all to take a nap. That was me calling an audible, which is something that I like to do, and running for leader of the country or the free world, or however it turns out in the end. That's something I think that's going to always stick with me. I like being able to make certain decisions on the fly. And that's understanding human timing, right? And I know you're like, bro, please, you can't time what humans are going to do. Yet, when you have humans in a group and you give them a mission to accomplish, humans on the mission, you know how long it's really going to take them to accomplish it, no matter what they tell you, right? But that takes understanding the people that you are working with. So I'm going to tell you a story very quickly. Because people don't believe that women can lead. So this is one of my coolest leadership stories, okay? Working at the North Carolina School of Science and Math. We had a snowstorm in Durham, North Carolina. And I had 6 of my 24 employees show up to work. They helped push my car so that we could pick up other co-workers. And we had to work. We fed 680 students on the staff with nothing but gas and backup generators. Okay. Um, those same employees would go on to see just one eye left, the system crashed. And it's not due to me. This is where humans do this to themselves consistently. Were becoming dependent on me, not what was responsibility and ownership, leadership, right? The moment that the weight was off, they were able to turn around and put that on someone else. That is what we have done as human beings when it comes to God, Jesus, and the devil. Y'all blame besides you. So the audible here is be accountable today, number one. Number two, pray today. But we're going to play a game. I pray for you. You pray for me. Pray for me. And then pray for the other person. Okay? And at 420, try to pray for somebody who is not of the same faith as you. Just ask God to bless them. Today I'm talking to the faith. Tomorrow maybe with me. Because hopefully tomorrow we won't have any enemies. You see? Man can make it there if man has made it this far. And it hasn't been on a wing and a prayer. I promise. I promise. I simply know humanity better than humanity. Why? It's my job. what God made me to do. God has had me literally just sitting watching y'all my whole lives, and raising your children too. I've been listening to your children while we've all been watching. So when I tell you your children's truth, and you find out that it's your truth, you listen too. That's the generational healing that's needed. Even in the interplanetary spaces, so to speak. When you listen to the stories, it'll often sound like I didn't have the best parents. And in a lot of ways, that's very true. I still had the father who let me dance off his feet. You know, took us out to eat. It just took no fighting. You see, my children had less of that and much more of me. That's where being a family unit comes in. You pick up the slack for the other parent when they can't be there. It's just when you get back to being there, you gotta be there, present and home. And that's where I fought the United States government and their father. Bring our soldiers home and get them whole again. Especially when you're talking about sending them back downrange. And you sent my husband home and out there every other fucking year. Are we clear? He's home for 12 months, gone for 12 to 18, back for 6 to 12, gone for 12, back for 12, gone for 12 to 18. Do you understand what that does to the psyche of a man? And you're sending him over here to do wild shit and come back to us expecting him not. Jesus, miles of God, you don't know how, you have no idea how lucky you are. He did not kill one of us. And somebody else was here to tell the tale. Crazy work, people. That's crazy. We will begin to limit the number of deployments immediately. That is it. We'll discuss the idea that going overseas without your family is basically a deployment also, and see what we can do about it because they have much more access to being able to communicate with each other every day. But going downrange, not talking to your family for weeks and months on end, and then turning around and telling them they cannot say shit. And then on top of that, expecting them to come back to, they think they come back to the exact same family. That family has changed, and you have to help them deal with that anyway because they ain't saying shit. Do you understand? That's the basics of it. No, dang. Whew. Shout out to Uncle Sam. I'll tell you this. I've been in their custody and care pretty much my whole life. From 4 to 44, approximately. You understand me? I might have felt some type of way about certain things, but it wasn't me popping my shit like this. Now, was it? That's me being in the custody of the federal government under the executive branch. Donald Trump, the Department of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services. You see the difference? Beating up on the military for damn sure. Those who actually served their country, who were chosen to sign contracts, not voted in for popularity contests and shit. Yeah, we were different. We give a damn about this country. That red, white, and blue isn't about the red, white, and blue. It's about you, me, and everything that runs through this country. That flag is just symbolic right there. Do you understand? It's the symbol of who we are. Oh, it's not there today. My bad. It's not there. It's not there. But it's a symbol of human beings. And as a matter of fact, it's that. We aren't there on certain days. You all haven't been attached to the flag or the country in so goddamn long. You were invaded by terrorists and didn't even know it. See me now? That's why calling an audible saved this country. Because it saved my life. The number of times I went left when I was supposed to go right, baby. That's what saved me. And God was like, "You were trying to pick a fight with my baby," and then that's when things start moving different. And because this time, ain't nobody see it coming, ain't nobody had no control over it, but me and God. You dig? Came out of nowhere, Molly walking motherfucker.
No CTE. You dig? I've had traumatic brain injury. I ain't had no shit like no concussions and going back about my business. I laid my ass down and I healed myself appropriately before I got back up and fought again. But honey, when I got back up and fought, 11:01 on the clock, I've been coming out with them haymakers. Hello? I know. 11:11 is hurting spirits all across the globe. And I ain't asking you to bend a knee or submit to me. What I'm telling you is you're going to put some respect on my name and my bona fide, babe. I did this, even having enough faith in myself to believe that I could reach the stars from my tiny little chair in Tucson. I did. I reached celebrities. I reached the galaxy. I reached out around the globe. I did it all. And I came back home every time. Because home is where we're meant to be. And home is where the heart is. And my home is right here in this country. And if there was a city, it's Memphis, Tennessee. No offense to anybody. I was born in that city, raised everywhere else. Memphis will always be home. That's where my roots are. No matter what it is. It's a beautiful morning. Did I tell you guys the story already? Oh no, I didn't. Okay. The Audible. I get up this morning. I come out from my little hidey hole. I'm already feeling great. I wasn't able to get in contact with someone who usually will help me out when I'm in need. Right. And they may have taken offense to go to a place they wanted me to yesterday. Yeah, you got to understand, I really do work for a living. And Saturday is a Sabbath. And as someone who ministers to the people, I'm not going to put my needs before the people on the Sabbath. That's just that's just what it is. People to understand more and more what that means. Because moving forward, as someone who would like to be president and leader and so on and so forth, there may be some things that I choose to abstain from. Trust and believe more than anything, that's the reason. My religious convictions are not law, at least not man's law. And when I stand on my religious convictions, that should be either in a place of worship or outside that has nothing to do with my place of employment. So when I feel compelled to tell y'all to go to hell, I need to either let you know in advance, because this is something that I did everywhere that I've ever worked. My office is always Switzerland and like the cooler. Okay. So whatever the proverbial cooler will be, that's also Switzerland. That means you can say to me, Madam President, Chef, uh, JP, even, can we go to Switzerland? To use the word Switzerland, right? AJP, I need some Switzerland time with you. Something along them lines. Okay, cool. I know that you are not, even what you're saying needs to be said. And I'm not going to immediately take offense to it, but you're going to have to, okay? That's neutrality. That's fairness in being neutral. Okay? So when I abstain, that is why. 1444 on the clock. Now, if I can justify my personal religious beliefs and they hold up weight with the law, then I'm going to go ahead and move. Do you understand? Where man's law doesn't conflict with God's law, I'm fine. When man's law convicts with God's law, I'm going with God. Man is going to go with man. Does that make sense? At least until man understands that man's law should be in alignment with God's law. Okay. When those things meet up, it really won't matter. But for right now, I want this for clarity's sake. Okay? Because you can abstain, bro. You can abstain just because you don't want to take up the argument. And that's unfair. That's leaving a lot of things left on the table, unsaid and undealt with. Okay. So now back to it. I'm good at this Sunday morning and I'm feeling great. Make me some coffee. And I get to the bus stop. And there's this weirdo who's always at the bus stop. I think it's a woman. She's got a mask, oftentimes a hat. I told her I was going to do this so she can't get upset. And this is why it's relevant. Um, she's got on a black hat, I think, like a silverish gray kind of mask, a black jacket, brownish green pants, white tennis shoes. Okay? Standing there, and she goes around to, and she attacks this man. She starts mouthing off at him, right? And what I see out of my periphery is her walking away, him jumping up and walking behind her, which makes me pay attention. Okay, now I'd seen all of this. I saw her when she was on the other side of me, looking at me, preparing herself to do. Okay, people don't think that I pay attention when I be minding my business. So that all goes down. She argues with him. Then she goes behind the U-Haul and she starts doing her little goofy hoodoo shit. Okay, and I'm like, oh, here we go with this dumb stuff early in the morning. So I'm sitting there minding my business. I'm looking at her because she doing something goofy, and then she looks at me with the, she got the same face. I said, partner, I'm not him. You don't want to play today. You bring your ass over here. I'm gonna bust you with this bitch. Right? So she do that Anton Daniels, Corey Holcomb shit. She get as close as she can, but when she see me grab this cup and come around that bag, she know I'm not the fuck playing. So then she want to get all submissive and shit. After having tried to record me. So I pop my shit and I let her know you got me all the way fucked up. Where that man wouldn't put his hands on you, I'm a woman and you approached me, threatening me, trying to record me, trust and believe me. If this shit goes down, I'm Gucci. You ain't though. What you don't know about me is I put people on blast for a motherfucking living. Because God gave me the ability to, as one of his children. I have already been judged by Jesus and everybody else out here. I went through the fire to the limit to the right. And you want to know what the Masons want to know? As did the Illuminati? How the hell did that bitch do all that shit without none of us being involved in it? I'm a child of the Most High God out here. I am covered in the spirit, bitch, not the motherfucking blood. I don't play in fire. I don't play in blood. I don't play in food. I don't do none of that weird ass dark magic shit. But that nut does, right? So here's the point, right? I had checked the dude, y'all know, last weekend, I think, when we went over there to that soup kitchen, right? If you look at what I posted on Facebook, and if I didn't post it on YouTube, I will when I go get me something to eat. See, Brian, I'm gonna eat, bitch. Despite you, Regina, the mayor and city of South Tucson, and any fucking body else who think I won't get fed out here. I don't need you, neither do the people. And now you fucking understand it. Okay, so back to it. Anyway, on that video, there is a man who works for a city in Arizona, who is being recorded stalking two women. He's a Democrat, not a Republican, and he just gave up his seat. Brian Flagg, JC Statement, talking to you motherfuckers. And everybody in this city who kept a beat with you bitches. Stealing from me, stalking me, harassing me. Not only do I have a criminal case, I have a civil case. And I'm going to do it jointly and severally. And motherfucking knees. Everything I'm saying is true, can be verified. Other people were outside. Brian, I don't think you knew I was in that van when you went off on that young white man. But I've been there multiple times. Got the people believing that you don't even roll with ICE like that. But it seems like you're an undercover ICE agent, Brian. You was just lying, setting the people up. Because you one of them family members, ain't you? I can't verify that last one. Everything up to that point, I'm pretty much teach y'all. I'm gonna be real honest about that shit. Okay? But you hate in a major way. That's why that soup be so goddamn salty them days you did. You a hating ass motherfucker. Salty son of a bitch. Why, Brian? Is it because that the mayors in both cities are women and melanated at that? Even if they identify as somewhat white. All I want to be black. Time into the future. If you all don't know this about the Manson family, one of the things that they thought that they would be able to do was control black people after Helter Skelter. So we were supposed to be so motherfucking slow that they were going to get us together to murder y'all. They couldn't do that, so what they decided then was they wouldn't do the murdering, blame it on us, and then control us and the flow of information around the country. That's what they get in bed with David Duke and his crew. You see me now? Because the Dukes had already decided going to infiltrate every bit of this motherfucking country. And when it was time, they were going to pull the trigger on white supremacy being the lay of the land out here. Black people were listening, they knew it, and they were doing the same thing in preparation, baby. There was always going to be, the South was always going to rise again. And you didn't think it was going to rise in my hands. 22 on the clock. Oh, and the North remembers me. So guess who gets nothing anymore? Now do you get it? I'm Jon Snow, but I ain't slept with my family member. Not number one. Be more discerning with who you sleep with out here. Number two, I was never a bastard. My father claimed me. hmm and number three, uh, I like him. Came back from the dead and loved me, the family enough that I ain't gonna kill him, despite some of the dumb shit that they did to me while we were children. And what they've done to me as adults that they weren't put up to by someone else, that's when they stopped being my family, you see? We were never really family. I'm a Targaryen and there ain't no Stark in me, you see? Just love for having been raised in the same coven. When I get free, we all get free. It gives us all the opportunity to come up out of slavery, for real this time. Mental slavery, physical slavery, financial slavery, emotional slavery. That's the message. So when you pray, maybe pray that you abolish slavery, that we can pray for others to come up out of these institutions that serve our greater good. Pray for all of us. Pray that resist. Resist division. Resist biases. Resist unkindness. Resilience. Learn to be accommodating. Pray that we can accommodate and make spaces for others who've never had spaces made for them before. Pray that we can start picking up the phone soon and hear laughter on the other end rather than dread. Pray that people will stop behaving like that young lady. And the point being, the Democrats are now going to have to eat their L and say yes. They have been funding bad actors behind these protests. Now, here's the thing, though. That's because of that man. But when it comes to Brian, I don't know if he's a Republican or a Democrat. And that could be the swing. You see? Because what I'm saying to you is to make it look like I had done the same thing, they were going to use that in reverse. Does that make sense? They think that I'm a Republican. I am an independent. I am not a Trump support or Trump loyalist. Anyway, let me put it that way. I am not a Trump loyalist. I support policies that bear fruit. Does that make sense? I don't give which party it comes from. I don't give a damn which country it comes from. If the shit makes sense and we can tell that it's gonna bear some fucking fruit, why don't we make a move? Why don't we bust a move? Y'all won't even fucking bust a grape. So, but you get what I'm saying. And some of you busting a nut these days. So do not start with me for clarity. I would look like a fool putting my hands on someone I know will sit caught up so that my chances of achieving, you know what? Go and look at the West Wing. When Jimmy Schmidt comes along, or whatever his name is, forgive me for not being able to say it properly, sir, it's early in the morning. Anyway, when he comes along and he's the Democratic candidate nominee, he gets caught up in a situation where his wife's got a tramp stamp, and I think he may put his hands on somebody. And oh no, that's a judge. Uh, 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 oh, he's one of my favorite actors. But anyway, he mollywopped somebody or whatever and almost loses his seat. And he may even actually lose it. I had an employee once. She did the exact same thing. I was like, listen, you're up for the executive chef position. You can't be out here going off on other people and acting a fool. And sure as shit, and she didn't get the position because I wasn't hiring her. I could just put her up for the position, right? Then turns around, the person who was my executive chef, I had ended up going off on him in the kitchen. And they all thought I was gonna lose my job. I immediately called my boss. I was like, look, I messed up. I had some stuff. He was like, do you want the job? Nah. I said, yeah. He said, well, then act like the job is yours. I said, facts. So then I went back and they was like, I know you want this position. No, I want to run this entire fucking thing. So you can go ahead and have a seat. Now, if you can't do right by me, the school and the policies, you're gonna have to leave. But you got 30 days to get your act right and fired him. I didn't fire him, and they just made me sign the paperwork. But did he end up having to go? Yeah, but management was the one who pulled the trigger. And sometimes I wish people knew because management makes us sign that paperwork saying it was us. All we did was collect the information that they told us that we had to collect and shit. Now you get it? Yes, anyways. That's that. Rather than do it for 15 minutes, put your head down at noon, Mountain Standard Time, and pray. If you can nap, nap. If you can't, okay. I get why you might not be able to. You see why I might not be able to. But anyway, that's all I'm asking. All right. It- I'm going to do what's best for us as your president. I won't tell you that I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to have great days. I'm going to have some off days. The reason why I made all of these videos and left all of this legacy behind is so that at some point you and I could sit down and talk about it, right? Whew, child, let me tell you about running this country. Back when I was in lower management, it was like this. Y'all ever had this experience? Da 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 da. Then you can understand 3111 on the clock what your president's working with. Yeah, nah, certain information because that protects you. Simultaneously, it's like when you teach your children how to budget by showing them what a budget is and giving them an imaginary budget and giving them an imaginary budget of yours, right? And you all work that through. You know what your real budget is, but you want them to have an understanding of numbers of what you're actually working with compared to what they have, compared to what other people have. That was junior achievement. That's what I saw and understood from kindergarten to 12th grade. It's just everyone in the country needs that, not just poor children or impoverished children. You're right. I'm gonna say it. Y'all gonna hate it. So is my heart. Why would you take only impoverished children and say that you're teaching them financial literacy and only put entrepreneurs in those schools to volunteer? Do you see? Can you see what I see? Are they the ones doing the? No, they may not even be doing anything wrong, but that's where the opportunity is. So if they weren't doing good, clean background checks before taking in those volunteers, that's why I came here. Do you understand? That's why I got to see the schools from the inside. Tucson just finished a 50-year um, like oversight when it comes to how the schools are run. There's still too much segregation, degradation, too many things that are wrong. I met who was on their legal team at the time. His name's Sam Brown. He helped Laura Conover run for Pima County attorney, and he went to work for her. And pretty much as soon as they got there, black women started leaving their positions. Now, does it make sense? It's not for me to determine how involved they are in the hate crime against me. It simply shows a pattern of abuse in this city. It's one of the things that I'm very good at noticing. I was sent here specifically to do something. Donald Trump can't take uh, credit for what I signed up for, what I was chosen for, and what I saw was my big, beautiful brown eyes. Given a report from me. That's it. Now, Mr. President, I ain't like that other lady. I ain't giving you my prizes. And you can't get no flowers off me until you give me my roses. Now do you see? In this big happy family of upper echelon politics, I still don't miss. I'm right on target, right where I'm supposed to be. Because here's the crucial and most critical key. Donald Trump used to be a Democrat, and I keep telling people that. And I also said that Democrats were nothing but demon rats. Them demons. Now he done ratted on them. Now here we are with the whistleblower as the motherfucking star. The way it was always supposed to be. That's all I did was shine a light on what the world was not supposed to. Literally, a canary. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. See? Birds are meant to sing. Rats and roaches. Other things. They bring infestation. They bring pestilence, despair, and destruction. Birds are messengers on wing. See me now? See me now? There you go. There you go. Can't call me a snitch, a witch, none of that shit. Y'all done seen it. Y'all done seen the Jimi Hendrix. Y'all done seen it. And I'm thankful for it. Don't you? You gotta go through it, get to it, testify to it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for now. I'm gonna go find me something to eat, probably. I'm gonna sit here. I also need a cigarette. I want some tobacco. You know what? Somebody did tell the truth about that though. Ain't no she lying about being me. She did tell the truth about the fact that spiritualists, healers, we've always had tobacco as part of our practice and our life experience. Which is what it is. Um, Smoke does a number of things. It is part of helping us communicate with the unseen, but you don't have to have it for that reason. Remember that the church used smoke back in the day to get rid of the plagues. It's crucial. Mm, the flu too, I think. The Spanish flu? Right. You see? We gotta remember these things. That was just herbs and scents and shit. So why you here pumping yourself full of weird damn such solutions and shit? Literally and figuratively. Stop consuming the bullshit. Call it audible in your life and pray for somebody else today. Peace.